In Hollywood, the line between fame and destruction is thin, and these stars prove that Hollywood isn't always a dream. It can be a nightmare. Hollywood loves to build up young stars, but what happens when the spotlight fades and the pressure becomes too much? These black child stars had talent, charisma, and bright futures, but behind the scenes, they struggled with battles no one could see. Mental health, addiction, and the pressures of Hollywood led them down dark paths. This is the tragic truth behind the child stars, who we loved and went crazy over, and how in the end, they just went crazy. Maia Campbell was born on November 26, 1976 in Tacoma Park, Maryland. She was destined for greatness. Her mother, Bebe Moore Campbell, was a critically acclaimed author and mental health advocate, and her father, Tico Campbell, was also an author as well as an architect. Raised in a middle-class household, Maia was exposed to literature, creativity, and extreme discipline from an early age. Maia has stated that she never felt the extent of true love from her parents, especially her mother. Because both of her parents were so successful and famous in their own right, Maia always felt like she needed to do much to get their approval. One of those things was to become an actress. As a child, Maia had big dreams of making it in Hollywood, but her bubble was always busted by blunt doubts from her mother and family. They constantly told her that she wouldn't make it, but the young Maia pressed on and strived to prove them wrong. In the early 90s, she began landing small roles in movies and on television. Her first major acting gig came in 1993 when she played Shantae, a small role as Tupac's cousin in the film Poetic Justice. She also had a small role on Thea, and in 1994, she had a role playing Lawrence Tate's girlfriend on the TV show South Central. Her star started to rise more when, in 1995, Maia won the role of Tiffany Warren on the hit sitcom In the House, alongside LL Cool J and Debbie Allen. As Tiffany, Maia became a household name. Her beauty, charm, and natural acting talent made her one of the standout stars of the series, as well as a bona fide quintessential 90s beauty it girl. Also, for a short time, Maia also attended Spelman College in Atlanta, but left before completing her degree to focus on her acting career. In the House ran from 1995 to 1999, and during that time, Maia also made appearances in other projects, including popular TV shows such as Sister, Beverly Hills, 90210, and Moesha, just to name a few. She was poised to have a long and successful career, but behind the scenes she was struggling with personal demons that the public would only come to know about years later. While Maia's career was on the rise, she was privately battling with bizarre behavior and erratic mood changes that put those close to her at alert. In 1998, Maia had a major breakdown on the set of In the House. She became aggressive and volatile with the crew and cast members and acted out in front of everyone, and this had not even been the first time that she'd acted out, just the first time in front of outsiders. Following this disturbing incident, she was promptly diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a condition that can cause extreme mood swings, impulsive behavior, and episodes of mania and depression. Having been hospitalized before and put on medication, Maia refused treatment. She, like most people who suffer with this illness, hated taking psychiatric meds because of how it makes you feel. Most who take them feel numb, like zombies, and there's also issues with weight gain with them. Her mother, Bebe Moore Campbell, was a mental health advocate and wrote extensively about the subject, and yet Maia struggled to accept treatment for her mental health issues. Then only 2 years later, in 2000, Maia gave birth to her daughter, Elisha. However, due to Maia's refusal to take her prescribed psychiatric medication, she ultimately lost custody of her child. This caused a major rift between Maia and her family, who wouldn't let her see her daughter. She began to resent her mother, as well as the father of her child. The whole family was at odds with her. After In the House ended, Maia's career stalled. She began experiencing more erratic behaviors, and instead of seeking professional help, she turned to self-medication, which led to substance abuse addiction. Quickly, she went from being a beloved teen television star to a cautionary tale of the dangers of untreated mental illness and substance abuse. In 2006, one of the most devastating blows to Maia's life came. Her mother, Bibi, who was diagnosed with brain cancer, was in her final days. Unfortunately, because she was in the streets and getting high, her family refused to let her speak to her mother. And if they did allow her to, it wasn't often. Then after Bibi's passing, Maia was dealing with major guilt and depression because of how she lost her mother and how she and her mother were estranged and their relationship declined before they could even make up, and how it was her family that got in the way of that. Without her mother's guidance, acceptance, or forgiveness, Maia's life spiraled further out of control. She became further estranged from her family members, including her daughter, who was being raised by relatives. As Maia's condition worsened, she became a fixture in the tabloids and on social media for all the wrong reasons. Several moments in particular alarmed fans and made it clear that she was in distress. In 2009, a disturbing video surfaced showing Maia in Atlanta, disoriented and disheveled, engaging in incoherent conversation with a group of men. She appeared to be under the influence, and the footage shocked her fans. Then in 2010, she was arrested for theft. Maia was sentenced to a mental health facility as part of her punishment. This was one of several encounters she had with law enforcement. In 2012, a heartbreaking video emerged of Maia allegedly offering sexual favors in exchange for drugs. The once glamorous star was now a shell of her former self, and her struggles were playing out in the public eye. In 2017, LL Cool J, her former In the House co-star, publicly reached out to help her. He asked fans for her whereabouts and offered to pay for treatment, but Maia refused help, stating that she was doing fine.
Hey, Todd. Look, bro, I love you. Hey, I don't need help. I need a benefit concert for mental health. Don't TMZ me. It's really me. This is Daryl. And it's a shop that I temp at or whatever. We're good. I'm good. I'm doing property. I have investments. I'm a real serious person. And my show is called From the Bottom of Season 2.
How should I get in touch with you?
Don't call me. I'll call you.
Back in 2012, Maia made an appearance on Iyanla Fix My Life, where she was made to face her past, her substance abuse issues, as well as unhealed issues and resentment for her mother. She even reunited with her then 12-year-old daughter on the show, promising to do better and get her life together. But, unfortunately, despite multiple attempts at recovery, including periods of sobriety and rehab, Maia continued to relapse. Her behavior remained erratic, and new videos of her in distress occasionally surfaced online. In recent years, it seems Maia may be doing much better. In August of 2024, her daughter, Elisha, posted a TikTok showing her and her mother, and down in the comments it was said that Maia had been sober for 3 years now. Let's hope that that's true, and that she continues to have a great and clean life. Lark Holloway, professionally known as Lark Voorhies, was born on March 25, 1974, in Nashville, Tennessee. Shortly after her birth, her family relocated to Pasadena, California, where she was raised. Her mother, Trisha Holloway, recognized her daughter's talent at an early age and encouraged her to pursue a career in acting. Lark's first exposure to the entertainment industry came when she was just 2 years old. However, due to extreme shyness, her mother waited until she was older to reintroduce her to acting. By the time she was in her early teens, Lark was actively auditioning for television roles. Lark's big break came in 1988 when she was cast as Lisa Turtle in the NBC sitcom Good Morning, Miss Bliss, which later evolved into Saved by the Bell in 1989. As one of the 6 main cast members, Lark played Lisa Turtle, the fashionable and witty best friend of the group. Her character was originally intended to be a spoiled, rich white girl, but producers were so impressed with Lark's audition that they rewrote the role specifically for her. Lisa Turtle became an iconic character, and Lark quickly became a fan favorite. During her time on Saved by the Bell, Lark's popularity soared. She was nominated for multiple Young Artist Awards and was seen as a rising star in Hollywood. She reprised her role as Lisa Turtle in Saved by the Bell, The College Years, and made guest appearances in Saved by the Bell, The New Class. After Saved by the Bell ended in 1993, Lark continued to work steadily in television. She appeared in several sitcoms, including The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, In the House, and Family Matters. She also had a recurring role on The Bold and the Beautiful from 1995 to 1996. In addition to acting, Lark pursued a music career. She was briefly a member of the R&B group X-Girls with Rebe Jackson's daughters Stacy and Yashi, and later attempted a solo career called Third Degree. But her music ambitions never reached the level of her acting success. By the early 2000s, Lark began stepping away from the spotlight. She made fewer public appearances, and when she did, fans noticed a drastic change in her behavior and appearance. She spoke in a disjointed manner, appeared distant in interviews, and seemed to struggle with basic conversation. Signs of her decline became more evident over time, leading to widespread speculation about her mental health. In 2012, Lark's mother, Tricia Holloway, publicly revealed that her daughter had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but was in denial about her condition. Lark denied the claim, stating in an interview with Entertainment Tonight that she was not suffering from any mental illness. And even though Lark was clearly suffering from something, the diagnosis was a miss and didn't in fact have bipolar disorder, but something else. She made a post about how the internet was making fun of her looks and how heartbroken she was because she was suffering from lupus. This was the reason she says that her makeup was so thick to hide the lupus rashes on her face that made her so insecure. In 2015, Lark made an appearance on the Dr. Oz show, where her unusual speech patterns and erratic responses worried fans. She spoke in what many described as word salad and seemed disconnected from reality. Dr. Oz later confirmed that she had been struggling with mental health issues. Her actual diagnosis was schizoaffective thought disorder. Schizoaffective thought disorder is a chronic mental health condition that includes symptoms of both schizophrenia, such as hallucinations and delusions, and mood disorders like depression or mania. Unlike bipolar disorder, which primarily affects mood and energy levels, schizoaffective disorder also involves significant disruptions in thinking, perception, and reality. In 2020, Lark was noticeably absent from the Saved by the Bell reboot, with reports suggesting she was not asked to return due to her health struggles. However, after much fan demand, she eventually made a brief cameo. Another major point of concern was Lark's personal life, particularly her relationships. In 2015, Lark shocked fans when she secretly married Jimmy Green, a man with a criminal record who was rumored to be involved in gang activity and had a huge love of using recreational substances. The marriage lasted only a few months before ending in divorce, and Lark declaring that his ding-a-ling smelled like corn chips. But as toxic as this relationship seemed to be, this wasn't a first of bad relationships for Lark at all. Some would say that started with the highly regarded comic legend, Martin Lawrence. Lark began dating comedian and actor Martin Lawrence when she was at the height of her Saved by the Bell fame, and he was rising in popularity with Martin and Def Comedy Jam. Their relationship seemed promising at first, but it allegedly took a dark turn behind the scenes. Martin was known for his erratic behavior, which later became more public in the late 90s, but those close to Lark claimed that she experienced his volatility firsthand. Reports suggest that Martin was controlling and emotionally abusive toward Lark during their time together. The most infamous moment of their breakup came when Martin allegedly ended their relationship in a shocking and humiliating way, on national television. It is widely believed that Lark found out Martin had broken up with her when he announced it publicly during an interview. The abrupt and callous nature of the split reportedly devastated her. But according to claims made in Dustin Diamond's controversial tell-all book Behind the Bell in 2009, Lark's trauma may have gone even deeper than just heartbreak. Dustin Diamond, who played Screech on Saved by the Bell, wrote in his book that after Lark and Martin broke up, she developed a deep fear of men. He suggested that something happened during their relationship that left her deeply traumatized, hinting that Martin may have been abusive. Diamond wrote that whenever men would approach Lark, she would appear visibly shaken and afraid, which led him to believe that Martin did more than just end their relationship cruelly. There may have been a pattern of emotional or even physical abuse. While Lark has never explicitly confirmed these allegations, the way her mental health declined in the years after their breakup suggests she may have endured significant emotional distress. Additionally, Martin Lawrence himself has a history of erratic and aggressive behavior. Given Martin's documented issues, it is not far-fetched to believe that his relationship with Lark may have been toxic and damaging. Lark's career and mental health spiraled downward after her split with Martin, while it's impossible to say that this relationship alone was the cause. It's clear that it played a role in her emotional struggles. If the claims in Dustin Diamond's book are true, Lark may have been suffering from untreated trauma for years, further complicating her struggles with her disorder. Though Lark has never directly addressed the extent of her relationship with Martin, the speculation remains. Many believe that whatever happened between them was a turning point in her life, leaving emotional scars that contributed to her reclusive and erratic behavior in later years. In recent years, Lark has been more open about her struggles. In 2021, she publicly acknowledged that she had been dealing with mental health challenges and expressed a desire to rebuild her career. She has also reconnected with some of her Saved by the Bell castmates and appeared more stable in recent interviews. Though she has largely stayed out of the public eye, Lark Voorhies remains a beloved figure for fans who grew up watching her on Saved by the Bell. Her story is a reminder of the importance of mental health awareness and the struggles that many former child stars face as they transition into adulthood. Doran Daniels, once a promising young actor, had a career that seemed filled with potential before his life took a shocking and tragic turn. Known for his early television roles, Daniels' descent into crime and violence led to a devastating outcome that starkly contrasted with his once bright future. Dorjan Daniels was born on October 17, 1988, and began acting at a young age. He gained recognition as Michael Hoogley, the son of comedian D.L. Hoogley's character on the sitcom The Hoogleys. The show was a staple in late 90s black television, and Daniels became a familiar face in sitcom culture. Beyond The Hoogleys, he made appearances in other popular television series such as Coach and Sister Sister. With natural comedic timing and a charming on-screen presence, he seemed to have a bright future in the entertainment industry. However, after The Hoogleys ended, Daniels had a difficult time transitioning from child star to more mature roles. It also didn't help that he'd started putting tattoos on his face. That was a horrible decision because as actors, your face is your moneymaker, and he'd ruined it. No one wanted to book him for roles, and he lost managers because he was no longer bookable or valuable. So Dee Jay largely stepped away from acting and got caught up in gang life. In 2012, Daniels made headlines for all the wrong reasons when he was arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder, and gang-related activity. On the night of August 5, 2011, a tragic altercation occurred outside of a sports bar and grill in Stockton, California, leading to the death of John Joseph J.J. Lewis. The incident began when J.J. and his friends were leaving the bar after it closed. Simultaneously, Dee Jay, along with his friends, were also exiting the establishment. Tensions escalated when Daniels and his companions allegedly began throwing up gang signs and using gang-related language. A confrontation ensued between the two gangs, and Daniels reportedly got into a physical fight with JJ. Witnesses recounted that Daniels approached JJ aggressively, leading to the brawl where JJ sustained multiple stab wounds, including a fatal wound to the heart. Despite efforts by his friends to help him, JJ succumbed to his injuries. In the aftermath, Daniels and his associates were arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder, and gang-related offenses. However, during the 2012 trial, Daniels' defense argued a lack of concrete evidence linking him directly to the fatal stabbing. Consequently, Daniels was acquitted of all charges in December 2012. This incident not only highlighted the tragic loss of a young life, but also brought attention to the challenges faced by former child actors like Daniels, whose promising careers can be overshadowed by personal and legal struggles. Orlando Brown was once a beloved child actor, known for his comedic timing, infectious energy, and standout roles in Disney Channel classics. However, as he transitioned into adulthood, his life became riddled with mental health struggles, addiction, and legal troubles, turning him into a cautionary tale of childhood fame gone wrong. Orlando Brown was born on December 4, 1987, in Los Angeles, California. He started acting at a young age, making his first major television appearance on the show Family Matters in the mid-1990s. He quickly became a recognizable face in black sitcoms, securing roles in hit shows such as The Jamie Foxx Show and Moesha. Despite his early success, Orlando truly became a household name when he joined Disney Channel in the early 2000s. His most notable roles included Max on The Proud Family and Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven. Orlando Brown's comedic skills and natural talent made him a fan favorite, and That's So Raven was one of Disney Channel's most successful shows, running from 2003 to 2007. After That's So Raven ended, Orlando Brown struggled to transition into adult stardom. He attempted to pursue a music career but failed to achieve the same level of success he had as an actor. As years passed, reports of erratic behavior, drug use, and legal troubles began surfacing. Orlando's run-ins with the law became frequent and alarming when in 2007 he was arrested for marijuana possession. In 2011, he was reported missing for several days before resurfacing. In 2016, he arrested for domestic battery against his girlfriend, which also led to weapons and drug-related charges. In 2018, he was arrested multiple times for burglary, resisting arrest, and drug possession. During these years, Brown also gave several bizarre interviews that raised concerns about his mental state. Fans truly began to worry when Orlando started making outlandish and disturbing claims. In 2018, he appeared in an interview claiming to be Michael Jackson's son and referred to himself as Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr. Also in 2018, a viral video surfaced showing him with strange tattoos, including one of Raven-Symoné's face on his chest.
What's your full name?
My full name is Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr., and it's AKA Blanket.
So what's Prince Michael Jackson Jr.?
Well, it's my nickname I gave to myself. Because, my father was Michael Jackson, great Michael Jackson. So.
Nigga, she right here. Nigga, everywhere I go, every time I cry, everything I do, every time I eat, every time I breathe, every time I hurt, every time I walk, every time I talk, everything I do, man, what the fuck is up?
In 2019, he made shocking allegations against Hollywood celebrities, claiming that powerful figures were controlling the industry through dark means. In 2020, Orlando claimed that Nick Cannon performed a sexual act on him, which Cannon later dismissed as a clear sign that Brown was suffering from mental health issues. Throughout these years, his slurred speech, erratic movements, and disheveled appearance fueled speculation that he was struggling with addiction and schizophrenia. In 2020, Orlando Brown checked into a Christian rehabilitation center after admitting he was battling severe drug addiction and needed help. He spoke publicly about his struggles, apologizing for his past actions and vowing to turn his life around. However, despite these efforts, his troubles didn't fully end. In December 2022, Orlando was arrested again for domestic violence, showing that his battle with mental health and addiction was ongoing. Orlando Brown's journey is one of child star success, mental illness, addiction, and legal issues. His bizarre public behavior and repeated arrests made him the subject of viral internet jokes, but his story is anything but funny. It's a painful reminder of what happens when child stars don't receive the proper guidance and support as they transition into adulthood. Lee Thompson Young was a gifted actor whose charm and intelligence made him a standout in Hollywood. Best known for his lead role in the famous Jet Jackson, Young had a career that many aspiring actors could only dream of. But behind his bright smile and composed demeanor, he was battling a darkness that few knew about. His struggle with depression and bipolar disorder remained hidden from the world, until it ultimately consumed him. Born on February 1st, 1984 in Columbia, South Carolina, Lee Thompson Young had big dreams from a young age. He found his calling in acting early, and by the time he was 14, he landed his breakthrough role as Jet Jackson on the Disney Channel. The show The Famous Jet Jackson made him a household name, as he played a young action star trying to balance fame with a normal life. Young carried the show with a natural ease, and fans adored him. After the show ended, he successfully transitioned into adult roles, including Friday Night Lights, Aquila, and The Bee, and Rizzoli and Isles, where he portrayed Detective Barry Frost. On the surface, his career seemed stable, but beneath the success, his mental health was deteriorating. Unlike some child stars who visibly spiraled into addiction or public outbursts, Young's decline was internal. He had been privately battling bipolar disorder for years. Unlike some struggling celebrities, Young never had public outbursts or scandals, making his battle nearly invisible. While many remembered him as warm and professional, those closest to him began to notice a change in his behavior. He became increasingly withdrawn. Co-stars on Rizzoli and Isles saw that he was isolating himself more than usual. His moods became unpredictable. Some days he was himself, while other days he seemed lost in his thoughts. He carried a deep sadness. Colleagues described him as introspective, but as time went on, that introspection turned into silent suffering. Maybe to help him overcome what he felt he couldn't battle alone, Lee tried to find peace in a new religion. Friends and family noticed subtle changes in him. He began wearing white frequently. He became deeply involved in Yoruba, a spiritual and religious belief system rooted in West African traditions, and made a trip to a small African village for this purpose. Those close to Young noticed a significant shift in his behavior when he began practicing Yoruba. The religion has a well-known saying, "Iku ya Jason," which translates to "death is preferable to ignominy." To some, this phrase will have a special yet eerie meaning because of what happened soon after. He was withdrawn, often isolating himself from those closest to him, and seemingly nothing was helping with his struggles. Young was taking his prescribed medication, including lithium, which is commonly used to treat bipolar disorder. But despite his new faith and obedience to taking his medicines, he was still suffering from his growing depression. Though Young never publicly spoke about his struggles, he kept his pain bottled up, which made his final act all the more devastating. On August 19, 2013, when he failed to show up for work on Rizzoli and Isles, concerned crew members called the police to check on him. What they found was heartbreaking. Lee had shot himself in the head. He was just 29 years old. He left no self-deletion note. His death shocked his friends, co-stars, and fans. Many couldn't understand how someone so talented, so seemingly in control, could be in so much pain that he saw no other way out. Some blamed the medicine for not working, and some even blamed his new religion of Yoruba. The religion's well-known saying, "Death is preferable to ignominy," has led some to speculate whether Young may have interpreted it as an acceptance of self-deletion as a means to preserve personal or family honor in the face of hardship. However, Araba Ifayemi Osundagbonu Elebuibon, a revered Yoruba culture icon and chief priest of Osogbo, clarified in an interview with the National Mirror that self-deletion is not condoned in Yoruba beliefs. He emphasized that those who take their own lives face consequences in the afterlife, rejecting the notion that the religion encourages such actions. One of the most haunting aspects of Young's death was the eerie connection to his Rizzoli and Isles character. In the show's last episode, featuring Detective Barry Frost, his character also died by self-deletion. It was a chilling case of life imitating art. When the show returned after Young's passing, they addressed his death by writing his character out in a tragic car accident. The cast and crew were devastated, and the episode was dedicated in his memory. Following Young's death, his family launched the Lee Thompson Young Foundation, dedicated to raising awareness about mental health, especially among Black men who often feel pressured to suffer in silence. His story remains a tragic reminder that mental illness does not discriminate, and that even those who appear to have it all can be fighting invisible battles. Though his life was cut short, his work continues to inspire, and his story serves as a call to recognize a sign of depression and encourage open conversations about mental health. Lee Thompson Young's death was not just a loss for Hollywood, it was a loss for everyone who admired his brilliance, his kindness, and his spirit. And the number one most famous Black child star that people assumed lost his mind is none other than Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of the greatest entertainers in history, captivating the world with his extraordinary talent from childhood. But behind the dazzling performances and record-breaking success, there was a deeply troubled man whose mental health was questioned for decades. From his obsession with youth to his bizarre behavior, plastic surgeries, child abuse allegations, and increasing paranoia, Michael Jackson's life was a slow, tragic descent that ultimately ended in a drug-fueled overdose. Born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana, Michael Jackson was thrust into stardom at an incredibly young age. As the lead singer of the Jackson 5, he was just 5 years old when he began performing, and by the time he was a teenager, he had become a global superstar. But the price of that success was a lost childhood and years of trauma. Michael's father, Joe Jackson, was notorious for his ruthless discipline. He frequently beat, insulted, and humiliated his children, particularly Michael. He would reportedly mock Michael's nose, calling him Big Nose, which later fueled his obsession with plastic surgery. The intense pressure, physical abuse, and lack of a normal upbringing left Michael deeply scarred. As he grew older, his odd behaviors and refusal to embrace adulthood raised concerns about his mental state. Michael Jackson famously identified with Peter Pan, the boy who never grew up. He even built Neverland Ranch, a massive estate with an amusement park, zoo, and a whimsical fairy tale-like atmosphere. He surrounded himself with children rather than adults, leading many to speculate that he was desperately trying to reclaim the childhood he never had. His appearance also began to change drastically when fans noticed his multiple nose jobs, allegedly due to insecurities from his father's bullying, his skin lightening, which he claimed was due to vitiligo, though many believed it was a result of deliberate bleaching. His drastic facial surgeries, including a cleft chin implant and possible cheekbone sculpting. All his constant changes fueled speculation that he suffered from body dysmorphia, a mental disorder where someone obsessively fixates on perceived flaws in their appearance. Despite his wealth and fame, his loneliness and desire to escape reality only deepened. In 1993, Michael's world was rocked when child molestation allegations surfaced. A 13-year-old boy, Jordan Chandler, accused him of sexual abuse, leading to a massive investigation. Michael denied the allegations, but the case was settled out of court for $23 million, leaving the public divided. In 2002, one of Michael's most infamous moments came on November 19, 2002, when he shocked the world by dangling his infant son, Blanket, over the balcony of a Berlin hotel. The horrifying sight of Michael holding his baby dangerously over the edge of the fourth-floor balcony sent shockwaves across the media, with many calling it the moment he officially lost his mind. Michael later apologized, claiming he got caught up in the moment, but the damage was done. This moment became one of the most infamous examples of his deteriorating mental state, adding to the belief that he was unstable and unfit to care for children. Then, in 2005, He faced another scandal when Gavin Arvizo, a young cancer survivor, accused him of sexual abuse. This time, Michael went to trial, and after months of testimony, he was acquitted of all charges. However, by this point, the damage had been done. His reputation never fully recovered. The accusations, whether true or not, only fueled the public's perception that something wasn't right with him mentally. As Michael aged, his paranoia grew worse. He believed people were out to kill him, often telling friends and family that powerful forces were trying to destroy him. He went to extreme lengths to avoid the press, wearing disguises, keeping security tight, and rarely making public appearances. At the same time, his drug dependency increased. He relied heavily on prescription medications, particularly powerful sedatives and painkillers like propofol, Demerol, and Xanax, to sleep and cope with his anxiety. By 2009, he was a shell of his former self, physically weak, mentally drained, and unable to function without medication. In preparation for his This Is It comeback tour, Michael was under extreme pressure. However, his health had deteriorated so much that he could barely make it through rehearsals. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson was found unresponsive in his Los Angeles home. He had suffered a cardiac arrest due to acute propofol intoxication, a drug normally used in surgeries. His doctor, Conrad Murray, had been administering it as a sleep aid, which ultimately led to Michael's overdose and death at age 50. His sudden passing shocked the world, but for many it was the tragic culmination of a lifetime of pain, trauma, and self-destruction. Michael Jackson's mental health struggles were evident for decades, yet he was never properly diagnosed or treated. His obsession with youth extreme, plastic surgery, paranoia, and addiction were all signs of deep psychological distress. Despite everything, his impact on music, dance, and pop culture remains unmatched. But his story serves as a haunting reminder of what happens when fame, childhood trauma, and mental illness collide, resulting in a lonely, misunderstood genius whose pain was hidden behind a mask of makeup and a legacy of music. Fame can be a double-edged sword. These child stars captivated audiences, but behind the scenes, they battled struggles that many of us could never imagine. Mental health is real, and their stories serve as a tragic reminder that even the brightest stars can fall into darkness. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't be afraid to seek help. So lurkers, what do you think? Do you think it's Hollywood that makes them lose their minds? Do you think it's the pressures of fame at a young age? Or do you think there's an actual evil entity that's harming the famed youth? Let me know down below.